Hello, I'm Jim, and welcome to Rallying in America, the Recce podcast. This podcast is an exploration of a rich history, the stories and memories of those who made and make Rallying in America so great. Enjoy the show. This week, I welcome Erin Alberda of the Bluebird Fund. Erin talks about how she went from horses to horsepower, how she started the Bluebird Fund, and much more. Hello, Erin.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm having a busy Thursday. How are you?
Are you? I'm pretty busy as well. It's been a busy year, actually.
I know. It just flies by.
It is. I can't believe it's June already.
Oh, I know. I'm so happy that it's finally summer, but then there's the oh my gosh, I have so much to cram into summer.
That's true. It's true. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
So why don't we just get right into it?
Okay.
And have you tell us a little bit about the Bluebird Fund?
Sure. The Bluebird Fund. Backstory. I
Yeah.
did not come from I did not grow up around cars. I'm not a rally person by breeding or background or
Okay.
really by primary passion.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up as a horse girl and fell into competing horses at a pretty high level. I was on the U.S. Disabled Equestrian Team for the better part of 10 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
through that work, um, really developed a lot of relationships with sponsors
Mm-hmm.
and partners and people who were fundraising for me to compete at a really high level. Um, Post COVID, I took a really big kind of pause on competing, and it just wasn't sort of my joy and meaning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It really just started feeling like the tension of putting my competitive pressures around a living animal. Like if that horse gets hurt, it
Oh,
hurts your
right.
heart, right?
Yeah.
And so my husband had kind of at the time was growing his own sort of interest in rallying and
Mm-hmm.
was doing some co-driving, and he said, gosh, you should take a look at this and maybe go drive a car, because if you break it, it either sits or you fix it, but there's not quite that same emotional component. And
Right.
so I dabbled in driving a little bit, and just really connected with the community, I guess, in some fashion, that it's this grassroots effort. There's people who are privateers and are out just doing this on their weekend and building the cars, and
Mm-hmm.
they can just go do it, right? So they are out there racing with Travis Pastrana. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like there was not, and the other thing that I was just struck by was everyone seems so willing to help each other out, and there's so much passion there. And I was like, this is kind of what I needed, right? I kind of had this burned out, sour taste in my mouth
Mm-hmm.
around some of the horse world stuff, and I was like, gosh, how do I get more connected, or how can I help? Um, and I think I kind of looked at some, what do you do? And folks were like, oh, you volunteer, you go stage marshal, you go stand outside
Right.
on the stages. And with my disability, that just wasn't practical. And I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
there must be a way that, a way I can contribute or put dollars towards this. And I kind of was looking around for like, where's the nonprofit? How are people paying for this? How are you getting scholarships? Who are your sponsors? And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of saw a bit of I didn't want to say a vacuum, because there are a ton of people doing it, but I saw an opportunity.
Okay.
And so I had this sort of idea. I had a little cash left over from my prior horse sponsors that had just been sitting in this, business account.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to them and said, hey, I kind of want to pivot. Are you okay redirecting these dollars to give out to folks who are kind of aligned with what we believed in, which was, you know, improvement mindset,
Mm-hmm.
kind of creating opportunities for folks who maybe didn't have opportunities laid out before them. As a disabled athlete, that was certainly why a lot of my sponsors supported me. Um, and and then this concept of safety on the heels of a couple really big sort of events on the American rally scene. It was kind of an important piece for us. And
Okay.
they were absolutely like, yeah, gosh, do it. We trust you. At some extent they had invested in my vision and this was an extension of my vision. It just didn't really revolve around going to the Paralympics anymore.
Got it.
Um, and so rather than like out the gate deciding I want to build a 501c3, I was like, let me just see if I build it, like they will come because
Got it.
it would
Yeah.
be arrogant for me to presume that there was a desire or a want or a need for any of this, right? Like,
Right.
so I just sort of threw it out to the social medias, to the people, and said, "Hey, I'm giving out these grants. If you can tell me why you need them, if you are, we want to support women in motorsport. We want to support safety. We want to improve, support folks who
Mm-hmm.
want to get better at what they're doing." And it was like a little ice cube that became a snowball. And there's been a lot of interest, and so we're growing.
Right. Which is yeah. I've seen your posts. It's fantastic. I gotta ask where the name Bluebird
The
came from.
Bluebird.
The Bluebird.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so as I was sort of toying around with this, I was like, gosh, if this doesn't fly, I still kind of want to do this in a different direction and I should give it a name, but it needs to be kind of a generic name, not like super rally specific.
Okay.
Just as we kind of are thinking about what is the mission, it's really um, just to provide opportunity. And the Bluebird, I started thinking about my folks. My dad is no longer with us, and
Oh, I'm
um,
sorry.
it was sort of a homage, yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
his relationship with nature, right? Which I think rally we have a unique relationship with nature, and
Right.
he's from
Yeah.
Montana, and he loved to drive off road. He didn't like to drive fast, but I was just one of those moments of thinking about him, and the car that I compete in is a Firebird. It is a Martinique Blue 1978 Firebird Formula. And it just laughed. I was like, oh, the Bluebird, that's what it is. He would be so tickled
Mm-hmm.
to see me racing around in this silly American sports car, muscle car, and then just coming up with the image of a Bluebird. And a lot of folks with the logo, it's a Stellar J, and
Yeah.
folks are like, well, why do you have a Stellar J instead of a Bluebird? And it's because of my dad. He loved the Stellar Jays, and
That's
it's
awesome.
it's just sort of a story, but it is a connection to the car I drive, and a lot of folks connect to that car. But for me, it is also, a connection to my dad.
Oh, very awesome. That's great. And my friend has a '78
Oh, does he?
Firebird as well.
It's a
And
good car. It's a good year.
yeah, and it took him 11 years to restore it. And
Yeah.
just like last year or so, he finally got it painted and the interior finished and everything. So, but it's a big car. So,
It's a huge car. We bought it and kind of looked around, and it was not a restoration candidate, which made it a prime candidate for driving on gravel, because I think it would have
perfect.
been a little sad if it was in a show car state. But
Right.
we were a little careful with the gentleman we bought it from, not to tell him what we were planning to do with it, because some of those show car type folks can get nervous about
Oh
what we
yeah.
rally car
Right.
folks do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You never talk bad about their cars, no matter what condition they're in. Uh, so, oh, that's fantastic. So, recently, if you're okay talking about it, you had some
Yeah,
trouble getting 501c3 status, and you have a new partnership, which is
I
some good
do.
news for you,
It
correct?
is good news, yeah. And I don't know if it's so much trouble with 501c3
Mm-hmm.
status, other than like my desire at the end of the day is to get dollars into the hands of drivers and co-drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And that means from a business sense, making the right decisions. And I have a full-time job,
All
So
right. Yeah.
this is a growing side hustle, which is amazing, but it means that
Hmm.
I don't have the time or the capacity to be running a business practically. And I consulted with a lawyer, and lawyers can be good and bad, but the my lawyer was very pragmatic with me. He was like, "Gosh, you need to live your mission and your passion for this project and not get bogged down in bylaws and meeting
Oh,
minutes and
yeah.
the administrative." And he's, said, "How do you think about this differently?" And that was kind of his parting shot was, you could build this and it costs money to stand
Hmm.
up a 501c3, understandably. Very bureaucratic, which is fine if you're in that place. But I think where we are as a fund is right now still it's a spark and an ember. It's not a full blown thing. And I would hate the burden of trying to create it to squish the passion that I have or the ability for folks to access what we're doing. So
Right.
I started looking at who I could partner with. And so absolutely delighted that I will be a project of an organization called the Players Philanthropy Fund.
Hmm.
And they are a 501c3. So through my relationship with them, people are going to be able to reap the benefit of their status and their long-standing history as a really great philanthropic on the up and up organization,
Hmm.
really aligned from a mission perspective. In order though, for if folks want to be supporting the fund more formally, leveraging their organizational structure. And that way, I and the people who are working with me behind the scenes can really stay committed to mission and focusing on getting the grants out and building the relationships and kind of talking about our stories and
Hmm.
rather than us being, consumed with the day to day. So it's very exciting, I think, to sort of feel a little grown up, a little more official.
There you
Um,
go.
I think we've had folks who've been wanting to support the fund, and I've kind of had to say, if I was running it out of my own checkbook to some extent, of course, it was, this sponsored account for my horse expenses,
Right.
but
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to take your money until I know until we're legitimate. And
Right.
so this is a big step for us to say we're an LLC. We are now a project of this bigger 501c3, and we are now in this space that will be able to kind of fundraise and create some sustainability for the fund over time.
Excellent. So, how long have you had this vision? Um, when did the Bluebird Fund initially sort of take flight, so to speak? Pun intended.
we're we're very fresh. So I think it was really probably 2023 was when I kind of started thinking about what can I do.
Okay.
And I think that we gave out our first set of grants early 2024 and then did our second big grant cycle this year. So still very new to all of this and still a lot of opportunity ahead and still a lot of learning for me to do about what the needs are and what people want and how to support folks in the best way possible.
Hmm.
But it's kind of the intersection of interest and opportunity and, still feeling like we have enough space that we can adapt if we need to meet folks where they're at or meet what the needs are in the rally community.
Okay. Excellent. We'll be right back. Power up your ride. Daily driver, bike, or track beast with Melee Design Firm. Since 2018, Melee has been the go-to source for high-performance battery mounts and power solutions trusted by enthusiasts and professionals alike. Whether you're carving corners on the weekend, commuting to work, or chasing podiums, they have the gear to keep you powered and ready. Their lightweight universal battery mounts are engineered for performance, crafted with precision, and designed to handle whatever you throw their way. They don't just make and sell parts, they build confidence under the hood. Rugged, industrial, functional. That's the melee difference. Join thousands of satisfied drivers who refuse to settle for stock. Upgrade your battery game today. Now back to the show. So now you're able to spend your time going through looking at those folks. So do they apply for the grant, or is it something you're searching out for, or how does that work?
It's been so far a pretty simple application process. So like I said, we kind of identified from the outset three program like interest areas. In Stage Rally, we were giving out 3 grants, one for women in motorsport, one for safety focus, and one for kind of an improvement focus. So for the safety grants, we kind of gave people some ideas of what you might spend the money on, and it's not to fix up your car. It's not for car parts necessarily, but if you wanted to upgrade to like a halo seat, absolutely we would support that. For the improvement things, folks have been, applying for to go to co-driving school, or, to get private coaching, or here's the goal that I set and here's what I need. If you can kind of outline for that for us, we're able to consider it. And then obviously big commitment to women in motorsport. Right. I think the Women in Motorsport initiatives have sort of allowed me to put my foot in the door myself. And I think even thinking about where I thought this fund would be when I started, it was, gosh, wouldn't it be cool to see more drivers with disabilities out there? And then once I kind of got into it further, I said, gosh, if we're still talking about women in motorsport, people aren't ready. Folks with disabilities driving. But we'll get there at some point. So there is an application process for those Stage Rally grants. Really super excited that I've also been able to help our local rally cross community. That grassroots connection is so critical to that concept of a rally community, right? Like the folks who are at the rally crosses are the folks who are out volunteering at the stage rallies, and some of them do both. And the idea that you go and you learn the concepts in a rally cross setting, and our community in the Pacific Northwest is incredibly inclusive. Tremendous credit to Northwest Rally Association for really building a space where it is safety focused, inclusive, and that improvement mindset, because they offer workshops. So beyond just the races, they've been offering sort of those educational opportunities, which are pretty elusive. So was also able to provide some funding, some grants to people who signed up for those specific educational workshops. And again, there was an application process, but we did those just through random drawing, because it's my community. I know a lot of those folks. So to make sure there was no bias, we just sort of said, well, we'll draw from the pool of folks who said they might be interested in some financial support to attend the workshops.
Okay. Very good. Sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Now that, especially now that, the business side of it can be managed by the new group, and you can really focus on the passion. Because you can I run my own business, and I love graphic design and that, but when it comes to the business side of it, I'm horrible. My wife just probably is going to roll her eyes when she hears this, but I get bogged down with that, and it's just something, half the time I just don't want to deal with it,
No, it's true. And it was gratitude again to that lawyer for sort of really reminding me that I don't want to spend my day on profit and loss and spreadsheets or a lot of, paying the bookkeeper to do that, or, your tax filings and quarterly, like it's a lot.
It is.
So again, I love the idea of going out and obviously with the concept of community, going out and building more of a community without having to worry about, oh no, what is this going to look like on the back end? I now have partners to help me think through it. And it is stressful. I think this week it has been, licensing agreements and what am I allowed to say with you on a podcast in relation to their organization and
There you go.
all sorts of things. But it is also like I feel like I have a buddy at this point to help me navigate who's done it and been there. So
Right. And speaking of buddies, your husband
yeah,
is helping you out with the car.
he helps me out in every direction.
Okay. Well, that's perfect.
Yeah, so he rally. Well, he races a Volkswagen Bug, a classic.
Oh, awesome.
He's gonna be so mad if I get the year wrong. I think it's a 76.
Okay.
He's had it since he was in his 20s, and we've been together for 20 years. So it is as long as our relationship. He's had this
Okay.
car, and he's built it into a rally cross car. He dabbled in co-driving and the stage rally level, and he he's the one with the real passion for this and the knowledge base for it. And he actually helped me pick out this very impractical Firebird as a rally car.
Oh, he's a
And
true car guy, though.
he is a true car guy,
Yeah.
true car guy. And people, a lot of people ask, like, why would you pick that as, this giant, heavy, drives like a boat? But
Yeah.
I think his thought process was with my disability, I have muscle weakness, and so I
hmm
need to use, I need power brakes and power steering.
Okay.
And I also use an automatic transmission. I don't have any feeling in my feet or my legs, like below
Mm.
the knee. So moving my feet on pedals in a
Yeah.
fast-paced rally environment would be a little dicey.
Yeah.
And I don't really like using hand controls because I can use my legs. So
Right. Okay.
he was like, okay, automatic transmission. He was thinking rear wheel drive would be more fun because I could be sliding around. And then he's like, he grew up kind of driving muscle cars on gravel roads, and he just had this idea that, oh, if we get you in one of these, you're going to have a lot of fun,
hmm
even if you're not competitive. And it's got a small black Chevy in there, and he can tinker on it. So there's no
There you go.
computers. It's all mechanical.
Yeah.
There's plentiful parts available. So he's responsible. It was
hmm
within days of a class I took at Dirtfish. He found it on Craigslist, and here we are. So he helped me get the car. He's helped me learn about the car. And then when we race, he's really, crew chief. So helps
Awesome.
get everything set up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it without him. And I think thinking about aspects of women in motorsport or community, it is so incredibly helpful to have your person, whether it's a spouse or any other
Right.
friend
Oh, yes.
or
Absolutely.
anyone else in your rally community, just kind of
hmm
pointing you in the right direction or helping you or showing you how to do it. Because I
Right.
certainly didn't grow up working on cars, and so it was all very intimidating. But I've learned a lot. I am teachable in my middle age.
There you go. I always tease my friend in his 78 Firebird because we joke about racing each other. I'm slowly restoring a 1964 Triumph
Oh,
TR4.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a little tiny car, about 100 horsepower or so.
yeah.
I said, "Oh, in a race, I'd beat you, because if we had to go around a corner, you're gonna have to get a tugboat to help you move to one side or the other." But
It's
yeah,
true.
we
It's
make fun.
true. And
But
especially on the little rallycross courses, some of them are quite tight, and there's always a Miata that's going to beat me. And, I'm not in it maybe to be the fastest, but maybe
yeah,
just to be the raddest.
but for me in a racing situation, I think that heavy car. For me, I'd have some more confidence in it, in that it's a little more stable, has some weight
Yeah,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to see some video clips of it
yeah,
racing. And you're putting in new seats and all kinds of
yeah.
upgrades right now, correct?
Yeah. I finally moved up enough, or I was going fast enough as a
Mm-hmm.
driver. Like I gained enough skill that I was just sliding all over the stock seats. We were
There you go.
cornering fast enough that I was just sliding off the pedals and sliding off the seats, and the seat belts were not great. And had a couple folks say you should really think about getting racing seats in here. It will help
Yeah.
you in a lot of different directions, both just with my muscle weakness being kind of locked in will
Mm-hmm.
really help. And then also in steering the boat around,
Yeah.
I won't be flung off the side as much. So started with seats and then just trying to fix up a lot of the 45, old crusty stuff that hasn't been touched because it was largely just stock.
Right. Okay.
So we refreshed new carburetor, new plugs and wires, and
Mm-hmm.
just going through everything, treating a lot of the rust while we have the interior ripped out for the seats, and
Mm-hmm.
just having a lot of fun with it. That's being done at a race shop, and they are so stoked to be working on this project as
Oh,
well because I
cool.
think it is not every day you get to work on a rally car or a rally car that's a Firebird. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be very, very excited to get it back and rip it around a little bit.
Right. So do you have a set goal in mind as to when you want to take it out and race it, or you just sort of taking your time and just, when it's ready, it's ready?
So I will be at a rally cross in July. So
Okay.
that's the target. The car's just about done. We're kind of doing the last bits and bobs before it gets buttoned back up. But the plan will be to rally cross it and then hoping, trying to figure out what else I can dabble in because I have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of fun with the rally cross. I think big someday goal would be to do one of our regional rallies, like 1 day rally, which would be just a tremendous push for me physically. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I think I could do it. I think with the right help, I could get there, but I am cognizant I have more learning and experience to gain before I get there. So it's thinking through what are the ways I can gain seat time and gain confidence and get used to driving this car and get all the edges sorted out before I
Mm-hmm.
think about aiming too high for my skill set.
Got it. Um, so with the Bluebird Fund, um, where can people go to learn more about it and how they can contribute?
We have a Facebook page, and that
Mm-hmm.
is probably has the most up-to-date information. I try and stay on top of that. There is a website. It is just little more than a landing page, but it does sort of outline who we are.
Okay.
I can, let's see, thebluebirdfund.org.
Okay.
And
Great.
we will be doing some updates to that webpage to outline our new partnership with the Players Philanthropy Fund. In the next couple of weeks, there will be more information coming about how to, if people want to give money, how they could do that. And I will make sure that's out on the Facebook page. But we are still so fresh in
Yeah.
our agreement that the nitty-gritty details are being ironed out on the back end. But um, social media, obviously, Facebook is great,
Mm-hmm.
and or the website. People can find me one way or the other, and even if people just want to ask what we're doing or see, I'm happy to chat about all things Bluebird Fund. It's
Awesome.
just a source of joy.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and taking the last half an hour or so and chatting about it, and hopefully we can get the word out for you,
Yeah.
um, and it's going to be fun to watch it grow.
Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're
And
welcome.
time flies when you're talking about the things you care about. So it has been a zippy half an hour.
Yeah, yeah, it has. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
If you'd like to be on the podcast, you can email me, jim@jimboothdesigns.com, or message me through Facebook at Rallying in America, the Recce Podcast, or Instagram, rallying_in_America. Special thanks to Brady Instruments, Pro Grade, handmade professional fuel hydrometers. Visit BradyInstruments.com for all of your fuel testing needs. Thanks to Toontank and the artist Nuclear Wave for the podcast theme music.